I am going to call us to order. It is 6:42. Um, oh, and I need my agenda back up. I lost it now that we restarted everything. Hold on, sorry. Okay, here we are. Um, no citizen comments, right? It's just us. Um, would I always forget. Do we need to do attendance?
Let's do it. Yeah. Charles asked me after the last board meeting to add it to the agenda for the board meeting. So probably a safe call to do it here today to do also.
Okay. Natalie Salee.
Here.
Elaine Siegel.
Here.
And JC Herman is here. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from November 17th?
JC, I also added November 3rd on there because those had not been approved. So
thank you.
I had asked Julie, and I did update the agenda and put it online. And I think she sent it out today with the minutes. Just FYI.
Okay. I don't think I saw the November 3rd ones.
Okay. It's in her meeting from today that included the her email from today at 7:23 a.m.
Yes, I got the email. I just I haven't had a chance to look at the minutes.
Oh, okay. So she put both minutes in there from the 3rd and the 17th, and then sent out the updated agenda that I had made. So that's all that was on the update, was adding the November 3rd minutes. Okay. And I did that a couple days ago before I put it up on the website.
Do we want to make a motion? Hi, Andrew. Nice to see you. No worries. No worries. We actually just got started because I was late and then Elaine had technical difficulties and then Natalie kicked her out. So we're literally just getting started. It was perfect timing. Do we want to make a motion for the November 17th ones? Or are we going to table both of them?
I think we should table them.
Okay. I wasn't sure if anyone else had a chance to look at them. Okay. So we will table the approval of the minutes.
Can I ask why we're tabling? Just because we didn't have enough time to look at them?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
All right. So for old business, we have the recommendation for the basketball court, which we haven't done any work on. So we can table that for the next meeting. Do we want to go into, I mean, this has been sitting on the agenda for a little while, the why we choose to do equity work. Is that something that we want to go into today, or do we want to? Okay. Does anybody want to volunteer to go first? I'll go if nobody.
I'll go first.
Oh, go ahead, Elaine.
There are really, I guess I would say, three main reasons why this is important to me. And one has to do with my family. My family is an adoptive, multiracial family, and it's very different from most of the families in this community. So I have some firsthand experience with what that means and the importance of inclusion. There have been other families that have, they're not similar. We're all very different, but that connection has been important. And lifelong friends grew out of this park district. And I remember the first night that we moved in, we went over to the playground and took our kids over there, and there was another family. And there was their Chinese daughter. And I looked at them and said, "Oh, they're our friends. They're right here." And indeed they were, and we're still very close. So that's one reason. And similarly, as a part of that, I watched our children able to build connections that turned out to be very important in navigating the difficulties of the Evanston school system. School systems, I should say. It's better now, but it was not It was not anything as nearly as inclusive as it should have been at that time. And the Park District was a very important resource for our kids going forward and connecting up with the rest of the community. So I'm very grateful for that. And I like to continue what it involves. Another thing is that it grows out of this work grows out of my legal work. Most of what I do and have for the past several decades involves discrimination of various sorts or school issues, which oftentimes are tangled up with with racial politics and equity issues. So this is something that I feel very passionately about. I've been very deeply involved for a long time. And in the course of that, I've had the opportunity to work with many communities throughout the Chicago area, particularly with local school councils. And I've seen what engaged parents can do, what engaged communities can do, just how much they can accomplish, even in very, very difficult circumstances with fraught politics. So again, this is something that I can bring to this work. And the third thing is actually a religious commitment, I would say, and that as a Buddhist, I have we believe in the oneness of all people. There is no other. Inclusion is fundamental to Buddhism. And so this is a way of working through that. And the other thing is that for the past several years, I've been involved with the Unitarian Congregation of Evanston, and the Unitarian Congregation is making a major commitment to equity issues, to inclusion, to training the congregation, making connections with the rest of the community, and very importantly, reparations. So all of these things are this is kind of what I bring to the table where I come from.
You're on mute, JC.
Sorry, my family was yelling at each other in the background. Elaine, thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate being willing to do so. Does anyone else want to go next?
I can go.
Go ahead, Naomi.
Yeah. Okay. I do equity work because for me, it's the right thing to do. I serve a community of people at the Park District that is incredibly diverse in so many different ways. And I love that. That's my favorite part of the job. And I think in order to serve them as best as I possibly can, I need to do this work all the time. And it's a never ending journey. So I'm grateful for an opportunity to be on a committee like this, where I get to personally do the work, but then I also get to bring that back to my position at the Park District. Personally, I have my chosen family in Chicago is a very diverse group of people. So I feel like it also makes me a stronger, more compassionate person in their lives, which is very important to me. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Andrew, do you want to go?
Sure. I've known this has been dancing on the agenda, bumping each, and I should be more prepared than I am. I think I will meander. I don't have three clear points like Elaine. But it's just we live in a very beautiful, but also really at times harmful world, and their personal experiences of harm, led me to study those more. And the more I dug, the more I began to connect, my own personal experiences of harm to social systems of harm, and beginning to recognize those and address those both personally and then in my communities. And part of this for me as well is connects to spirituality and faith. And I'm a Christian, and Christianity has this really troubling legacy when it comes to issues such as race. And but from a sort of a sort of sect or way of thinking about Christianity that's committed to liberation and the preferential option. So that also kind of drives me, but also like sustains me, because this is rough work, sometimes very discouraging at times. And then I this ties in as well vocationally for me. I'm a scholar who does, my work delves around issues of social justice, particularly race and power. And I came to that point as well and just realized that that's what I had to deal with in my scholarship to be a responsible human being. Privilege sounds so harmless. It sounds so kind of positive, but privilege is a really nasty thing that hurts a lot of people. And it comes at the cost of others and ends up separating us. And so working to disrupt my own privilege and working to disrupt it in the communities of which I'm a part is it's a key to staying human and trying to connect with my community more deeply. So yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate you all bring such personal aspects to this. I mean, not that it's surprising at all to hear those personal aspects, but I appreciate you all being willing to bring them. I am doing this work because the experiences that I had growing up, I feel like I can see things from a lot of different points of view. And I've spent a good amount of my life, wondering what kind of changes and what kind of action I can take to have a positive impact on how people experience life. To me, a lot of it comes down to quality of life. And when people are not being allowed to fully explore their potential within their quality of life, I think that's problematic. So when this opportunity came up with the Park District, although I still don't really feel like I, really know what I'm doing. But it was at least a way that I felt like I could make a little dent in my corner of the world and make things a little bit better. In my youth, I was much more optimistic and, had this impression that like huge changes could happen with, small amounts of action. And clearly, in my older years, I understand that that's not necessarily something that is realistic. But I think at the very least, for me, it also goes back like to faith and belief, although I'm not a religious person. I truly believe that our purpose as human beings is to leave this place better than what we found it. And so this is my little corner of the world that I am trying to do that in. And much like Elaine, I also have found a nice little family for myself, a chosen family through Ridgevale. And so I feel like it's a really important place for me to give back to, because I've gotten so much out of it. Aisha, I don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I was curious if you were interested in sharing too.
Sure, I can definitely share. My connection to this work, I like to say, or not like to say, I do say that it started because I was a part of the desegregation program in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is very segregated, and the reality of being a part of a system where there had to be that level of intentionality in my lifetime around integration of school districts is something that I have lived through. And as I have looked back over experiences in my life, has particularly around educational systems, and my experiences in them as a Black person, as a Black first girl, then woman, those experiences have helped to shape how I view the world, how I navigate the world. And as I grew and matured in the world, it revealed to me the importance of this work. And so my why is tied to my personal experiences of navigating the world and interacting with systems and inequality that exists in the society that we live in, and having a desire to create a world that's different from experiences that I have personally had, that I have watched friends, relatives as well have to navigate, and to really try to be a part of changing and adjusting things based off of my experience and the lived experiences of those that surround me in the communities that I exist in. And then most recently, I have a child who has a disability, and experiencing that as a parent has also opened up a brand new level of that work and what advocacy means, what it means to be an ally. And all of those things have just been reawoken in a different way since becoming a parent. So those are all of my whys.
Thank you for being, seriously, all of you. I really appreciate being, so open and willing to share these little personal tidbits. Aisha had asked, to put this on the agenda a while ago, just as a reminder and a refresher of, why we're here. I think maybe something moving forward that we should also talk about, which, Andrew alluded to, is, what are we going to do for ourselves when this work gets hard? We don't need to have this conversation now, but I think it's something worth thinking about, especially as we move into, trying to make these recommendations to the board, and with a new board possibly coming into fruition, right? Like in the next 6 months or so. So yeah, something to think about, and something, maybe we can discuss in the future.
It's coming. We got 3 candidates. We did it.
Wait, that's on the agenda for us to be updated on all that stuff. Isn't it on there?
I can save it till the call of the committee. If you'd
Okay. Like. Okay, because I think I'm behind on information, and I'm realizing, but I'm okay. I will keep us on task though. Okay, so our next agenda item is the process for reviewing documents. I think, if I remember correctly, I think Elaine, you were the only one that wasn't here when we went through that. Does everybody, I mean, not that you necessarily have it in front of you right now, but does everybody have a copy of that document in their possession? I believe it was emailed with the last, okay. So is our plan to split up ordinances for us to come back for the next meeting? Okay.
Yes.
Hold on, let's do this. Natalie, can I share my screen?
Yes.
Please.
I think you should be able to.
Okay.
JC, are you delegating the ordinances to us tonight? Which ones we're doing?
I was kind of hoping people had some preferences that they would want to work on. I've read through all of them. None of them are like these super wordy, long, right? Like nothing super intricate. There's a few that are really short.
How many are there total?
Hold on, I can tell you. If I ask my computer to do too many things at the same time, it doesn't do anything. So I just need a minute to let it do its things. I can pull this up.
I think there's 7 in total.
I was gonna say,
We actually went through one and made it and came to a conclusion about taking something out in the last meeting. So there might be 9, 8 or 9, something around there.
That's what I was going to say 10 or 11.
I mean, I think if everybody else is okay with it, I think it's probably fine just to delegate them.
Okay.
I mean, unless anybody has already read through them and feels really strongly about one of them. If they're all about the same length in terms of, size and language, I don't know. Do you guys feel okay about that?
Yeah, and if there's something that's kind of opaque and you want to assign it to me, I can take it on.
Thank you. So one thing for you all to know, I know I was going to, talk about this in the board update, but I realize now it's, pertinent to what we're doing now. The way, hold on, I'm trying to organize all this in okay. Clearly all the stuff that goes into ordinance has to be, legal and has to go through the park district's lawyer. So once we get something, put together, I will bring it to Matt Mitchell, who will look through it. And then once Matt Mitchell goes through it, then it will go to the park district's lawyer just to make sure that everything is written in a way that's going to be in the park district's legal best interest. I just want to make sure that I make you all aware of that process. I'm sorry, I'm having like a ridiculously difficult time getting this to function properly.
JC, what are you trying to share? Could I share it from my computer?
Yeah, I'm trying to share the procedure for the procedure review process.
Are we going to go over that again?
Well, I figured. Oh, I guess we don't actually have to go through it again. We're just delegating.
Yeah,
it's whatever you want to do.
Okay.
What I was going to say is that when whatever happens with delegating, when the decision is made, then to just include the process in that same email that goes out, so people have it all in one place.
Okay. Never mind about that then. I don't need to screen share anymore. I can give you a list of the ordinances.
Why is it not?
Oh, thank you, Andrew. Just put it in the chat. November. There it is. Okay. No, it's not.
Just say, regrettably, I know we were supposed to look through these and see if we were partial to particular ones. I was not able to do that. So I will take whatever assignment is given me.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8. Oh, no, 9. There's 9. We talked about the first one listed, which is the begging or soliciting for donations. So then that leaves the remaining 8. 2 of them have to do with parades and public gatherings, and assemblies and picnics. 3 of us. Natalie, do you want to take that one? Section 6.20, 6.21. I feel like that's the one that's most likely going to have to do with things that you're more knowledgeable about.
Sure. Got it.
Elaine, would you be interested in taking 6.02 alcoholic liquors?
Sure.
Andrew, the next one is 6.11 disorderly conduct.
Okay.
Oh, I have 6.05 on here twice. Oh, that one's on there too. You got that one. It's fewer than what we thought. I can do both the picnics and the standards of context. Oh wait, no, that one's on Natalie's already.
Somebody should actually type up the one that we went over last time, so that Matt can look at it.
Okay. I'm just gonna make a list of what you all are doing too. Real fast. Natalie, you're the only one that ended up with 2. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
I can help you with it if you need.
2, 3, 4. So there's only 5 total?
Yeah, because the way that I listed them,
I feel like she had more listed than that.
I think it might be important to go back into the
original document
all listed to make sure.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Me too.
Oh shoot, it's not on the website anymore because I took it off.
Oh, Patch report isn't on there anymore?
No, because I updated the website. Hold on, I got it.
Natalie, when you get a chance, will you send it to me? I don't think I have a copy. I've just been getting it off the website.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Thank you.
One, two, three, four. She listed them multiple times. I think that's why. Hold on, I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna put it in the chat for everybody. Boop. That's what she has listed. And I'm gonna forward this to you, JC.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So my list is correct. It's just the way that it's listed.
Yeah, if it's listed the same way, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. Okay. Thank you. I'm well known for making mistakes, so I feel better that I didn't. Okay, and then when we meet again, then we'll bring back our edits. And then we'll go over them as a group. Does that sound like a good plan?
Can we just confirm who's doing what again? So I'm doing 6.20 and 6.21 parades and picnics.
Yes. Elaine will do 6.02, which is the alcoholic liquors. Andrew's got 6.11. The 6.05 is the one that we did together. You already have the 6.20 and 6.21, and then I'll do 9.03.
JC, do you also want to type up the begging
Yes.
and soliciting? Okay, okay. Then I think we're good to go.
Okay, awesome. Oh, I should have taken the assessed need for further training because we already know that we need the training. Aisha's putting that together. We're going to talk about that again in a minute. We divided them up. Okay, so that brings us to new business. An update from the December board meeting. I gave the report. I included the fact that we're working on these ordinances. I gave them a list of the ordinances, had the back and forth with Commissioner Mitchell that I told you all about. And there was really nothing like eventful or anything much more than that happened at the board meeting. That brings us to the update on the Ridgeville Park District's equity page. I will turn that over to Natalie and Aisha, since the two of you are the ones that worked on that.
So the equity page has been updated. It some changes in definitions, order of some content on the page as well has been shifted and adjusted. Is it a separate? I'm going to move into C, because unless Natalie, you wanted to say something about the page itself.
I just want to be clear, Aisha did this. I copied and pasted it and fixed some formatting. Aisha put a lot of work into this, so thank you.
So you're welcome. One of the things that is going to be important for this committee to do is to make sure that this page is a living landing space for people to be up to date on current definitions, words, things that are connected to this work. And so at least once a year, there should be a revisiting of the page, looking at the definitions, making sure that they are still aligned with the language that we want to use to express what we're trying to express. And then there's a place on the page that identifies resources. And that is a specific place where I think it would be important to have more input from this committee and to have resources that are more than just books, that are books, articles, podcasts, videos, movies, things that can be accessible to everyone. We also would want to consider language, and we want to consider everything in thinking about what type of resources we want to offer for people to access to learn more. There was a missing audience that I did add at least one resource for young adults as well. So we also want to think across the lifespan as well with the resources that we are recommending. So I'm not sure exactly how we would want to go about managing that process. JC, that may be a you sort of question and to consider, but it definitely is something that this committee should be having, and a place this committee should be having an eye towards and input on. And keeping that page updated provides an opportunity for there to be sort of living connection with the community and people who land there. And so keeping it up to date with the resources as well as the definitions is going to be really important.
I also just want to add in there one of the changes that was made. One of the things that we need to keep in mind is if we're making references, or if we're putting something up there that has to do with connected to any other person, that we keep in mind what is currently happening with those people, so that like the resources and the information that we're putting out are reputable and respectable.
Right. One of the things I would recommend is to steer away from including resources from sort of celebrities, and to stick with more scholarly resources whenever possible. That might not always be possible, but when you have a page like this and you're directing people towards resources, it also then can appear to be an endorsement of the person. And And so we want to be careful about the information that we are putting out and what we are saying that we stand behind on this page as well.
Thank you. That was a much more eloquent way of saying that.
I just want to throw this out there too, because we are nonpartisan and not affiliated with any religious organizations. Anything that goes on that page should also keep that in mind as well.
Thank you. There's certain guidelines that the park district has to follow of what they're allowed to post. Which I think I crossed that sometimes when I send you stuff, Natalie, I'll send it and I'll be like, I think that one probably actually can't go up there.
I still enjoy reading it.
I think it would be nice too, right? Like this has been one of the goals of the committee since the committee has started, is to have a back and forth with the community. It would be really great if we could start getting recommendations from the community of what we should post to, how to actually bring that to fruition and make that happen, is kind of beyond me, but I think that would be a really neat thing for people to do.
One of the things that we could do, I know somewhere on the page we talk about how to connect, I believe, how to connect to the community. There's something that asks for feedback. We could also add language asking specifically for the community to contribute resources.
Aisha, I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to look through the racial equity survey that we have. That might need some updating as well. I don't want to ask you to do that, but maybe you and I can take a peek at it sometime.
Yep.
And that's a place too where we might be able to add something about reading recommendations or movie podcasts. I have a couple podcasts that I'd like to put up there that I listen to. But that might be a good spot to put questions for community.
That's a good idea.
JC and I had also started conversation around how to connect this resource section with the library as well, as a way, again, to broaden the audience. It could also be a space for people to possibly learn that this committee even exists, to share that these are some books that are recommended by the REDI committee and have them on display at the library.
I know that JC's mentioned Tracy to you, who I worked with. She helped me with some outreach stuff last year, and she works at the library, but she and I work together still pretty closely on like marketing exchanges. I'll send her flyers, she'll send me flyers, social media posts, whatnot. But the library does a lot. They have they have workshops, I think, every month on different things having to do with race for both kids and families, individuals. And they include that stuff in their newsletter. And I had been wondering how to cross promote that through our equity work. And I feel like there's an opportunity there. It could be as simple as just, creating a link on the page that takes you directly to their workshop series, or I can, get a digital copy of their flyer, but I don't know, or create some kind of digital display board, so that when there's, these kinds of things going on in the community, there's a place to go to see this digital display. Is that the right word? Display board? You know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Is that a good idea?
I definitely think that's something that should be here. One of the things that's here is the Chicago Public Library's reading list, the reading list that they suggest. So there definitely should be a connection bridging the library.
Okay. I can do that for sure.
And then Natalie, I can also, if it's easier for you, I can reach out to Tracy too. I know a lot of the librarians, as a teacher, I can email the librarians and be like, we're studying trucks, and then they'll just pull a bunch of books and I can go pick them up. I wonder if there's some, something similar that we could do, and maybe it wouldn't necessarily be Tracy herself, but somebody at the library who, we could give them a topic and they can help suggest titles. And I would assume that they would be willing to put up displays. Like maybe we can make a sign, or maybe even have the kids at like winter break camp or something make a sign about like, Ridgeville's REDI committee's recommendations or something along those lines.
You mean to display at the library or in our library?
At the Evanston Public Library. Like they do these little it's either like the holiday coming up, or like they'll have like different themes around the library that they have books out. So maybe we can, talk to them about having, and I know they already have equity stuff that they put together. But maybe we can, if we connect with them, maybe we can have some more like signage from us and some connection to us along with what they're doing, and maybe adding a little bit more.
Yeah, that's right. You had emailed me about this. I think that's great. I feel like if we're going to ask them to put a display together, we need to make it. Like, I don't know that I feel comfortable asking Tracy to like take that on for us. You know what I mean? Like if there's books that we're recommending, I feel like we should go to the library, find them, and then get permission to put a display together. I don't really want to ask her to do that. But I think it's a cool thing that we can do, and we can make the signs, right?
If they need us to do it, I'd be more than willing. But I from my experience in the library, like that's part of what the librarians are for, right? Like they do that stuff for like preschool teachers without any sort of relationship or whatever. So I would imagine that it would be within, and it might not be, I could be wrong.
I mean, if it is, then that's great. I know in talking to her, she's very busy. So like, I just feel weird asking her to do that. But I could do, you know what I mean? Like we can go and with their permission, select whatever books that we decide on. And if they say it's okay, we can put up a display. But if that's something that they do already, then that's great.
Well, let's find out. Right.
Okay.
Like, I'm supposed to be getting in touch with Tracy anyway, so I can open that conversation with her.
That would be, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I just don't want to stress her out. I don't want to put any work on, you know what I mean? Like I would just want to do it.
Absolutely. I hear what you're saying. And if it's not already within, things that they do, then I agree with you that we should take that work on ourselves. But I'm under the impression that's part of what they'll do. And maybe it's just I was about to say the pediatricians, the ones in the children's department. But I'll find out. I'll find out what we need to do to make this happen.
Yeah. And we had also gotten, Iden had made the connection for us with Young Black and Lit, and they had made that awesome donation of books to our library. I think a lot of those books have been taken home now, which is great. But that would be, maybe I should ask Iden, like, I don't know how often Young Black Lit like makes those kinds of donations, but if we could possibly re-up on one, I think that would be useful.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, would this be something that like the Ridgeville Foundation could fund if we had a list? Is that how that sort of thing works, or no?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Mike. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think they are specifically
scholarship
fundraising. No, not even that. I think they're specifically fundraising for events, like cultural arts events. Because it is the Ridgeville Cultural Arts Foundation. So they raise money to do like our concerts and our theater stuff.
Okay.
So involved with it maybe, but I think that's their focus.
Okay. Anything else on the board providing content for the equity page?
I have something about the survey, but I think we moved past that. So when we get to the end of this, if we can jump back to that for a second.
I think it's fine to go back to the survey now.
I'm just curious why we leave it open. Typically, surveys are meant to gather, a snapshot of a broad group of people at a specific moment in time. And I guess I'm just wondering what kind of feedback we get. What are we doing with that data that we're collecting? And would it be better to maybe have like a once a year survey where we assess and then make more of an event of it and gather a snapshot related to assessing whatever we're working on as the REDI committee or with the board. I guess I'm just curious, is it effective to leave it open all the time? Are we really getting a lot of responses? And would it be maybe more effective if we just make it more of an event where we're getting a snapshot of a particular time?
The survey was created by Dr. Effiam, and when it was put up and sent out, it was doing exactly that. We didn't really get to a place where we had a conversation about whether it should stay up or stay down, and then it was too late to have that conversation with her. So that's it. Yes, when we were getting responses to it initially, we got quite a few. She used that information in her assessment. We get people that fill it out once every blue moon. I think people use it more now when they've had like a good or a bad experience that they want to talk to us about. And thankfully, most of them are good. Like they've had something good has happened and they'll fill it out, but it's very it's not very often at this point.
Yeah, I think it was my observation was that it seems that it's functioning more like a feedback form. And I'm just curious if we, just moving forward, if we want data points for assessing our own work and the work of the district, maybe we can reimagine that. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Aisha, what do you think about that?
I agree that this one, we need to look at the survey, the questions that are being asked, look at the previous data and also the usage of the survey to learn more about if it needs to be shifted or changed or adjusted, if it's meeting its purpose. And then the next step is to identify, is there a different purpose we want this to have? And then to make any changes or adjustments around that to connect to that intention. But the first place is one to look at it, the actual survey, and to get any data that has existed in the past from it to see what it tells us.
I can run that for you, Aisha.
A couple of things on that. The original survey grew out of concerns that were raised by the community, and Dr. Effiam had talked with us about about as we proceeded with the inquiry, after we'd gotten in, or while we were getting the initial responses, I believe that we were, if I remember right, we were talking about this as a continuing process, and she had in mind, and we discussed some how we would collect those data, and that we would target certain organizations, certain communities, in order to get input as broad as possible, and also as a means of reaching out and of involving people, so that they weren't that they weren't what would I say? So that they weren't just estranged from the from the community of the Park District. So those are some things that we might consider as we're looking at what function a survey can have for it.
Thank you, Elaine. That's I'd forgotten about that piece, that we had started talking about which organizations we're going to connect to and all that. be nice to be able to start doing that sort of stuff again, or doing it, since we didn't really get to do it in the first place.
So this committee has not yet to this point used the data for a specific purpose.
No, it was just kind of presented back to the board.
Okay.
Yeah, she presented it back to the board, and you're right, Elaine. The impetus behind making the survey was because we were getting a lot of feedback at board meetings. There was like large groups of people coming to talk about experiences that they had either had within Ridgefield Park District, outside of Ridgefield Park District, but they were just coming like en masse to like talk about it. And so she wanted us to create the survey as a way to give those people a voice outside of a board meeting so that we could really collect that data and analyze it. So I think it was heavily used for that, and that was part of her assessment. But yeah, since then it has remained up. So, but I can send you, I'll run the data for you when I'm back in Chicago and get that to you so you can take a look at it.
Okay. Thank you.
Just kind of along those lines, one of the things I'd mentioned to Aisha too is, the possibility of her looking through the rest of the ordinance, just to have another set of eyes. I know it's a very large document, but I think it's worth having Aisha go through some of these other things that Pat had also done, just to make sure we're not missing anything.
I do have one question about the page. There's a banner that says join the REDI committee, and it says click here to learn now. That's on that page. Did that ever lead to anything specifically about how to join the committee?
It goes to the equity page. So that banner is on the top of every page on our website, and it goes to the equity page. When you were on the equity page, there was a link previously that people could fill out if they were interested in joining us. So it was, and I can put that back up there, but and maybe that's what I put up instead of the survey, is the form for getting involved with the REDI committee. But yeah, it all led back to the equity page.
Okay. Thank you.
And that banner can be changed. Sometimes if there's other things going on, like sometimes I will use it to promote other things, but when we're kind of in a place of nothing's happening, that's the default, is the come join our REDI committee.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments about either the equity page or the survey? Okay. Our next item is the discussing the dates for equity training. The equity training that Aisha is putting together for the Park District. I don't have the dates in front of me.
January 6th, I think, is the first day.
It's January 19th, 26th, and February 2nd.
Oh, excuse me. Where's the board standing on dates? Have you gotten responses from everybody on the board, or not yet?
No.
Okay.
One commissioner has declined to participate. It's fine. The dates are fine. I haven't heard back from the other two. So that's where I'm at with them.
Okay. Elaine and Andrew, I don't know if this is information that you all can give us now in terms, or if I don't know if you've already responded to that email in terms of if those dates would work for the training. But we are trying to nail down a day.
Will this be online?
What were they again? Just real quickly.
The 9th, 19th, January 26th, and then February 2nd. It will be through Zoom.
As the parent of small children, that time, the dates are fine. The time is rough. And so if this training is going to be highly interactive, I mean, the reality is 6:30 to 8:30, I'm going to have to be on video mute to put my children down. That's just the reality of the time. If that's okay, then they work.
Let me ask a silly question. Is this a multi-session training so that we would be participating in all of them?
It
Okay.
is.
Yeah, I can't do the second.
We'll be recording them. So I have offered that caveat because I know, it might be tough for folks to come to all three. So they will be recorded. Ideally, we will use this training session for future incoming board members, staff, committee members. So if you can't participate in one of the dates, you'll have the option of watching the recording.
January 26th was one of them also, isn't it? That's a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't do that one either.
The other option that we had discussed is pushing it back. What did we say, Aisha? April or March?
I think you said March.
We could push it back to March, and I think we've already discussed this, but we will have a new board getting sworn in May. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where y'all feel, if we should just kind of go with it and see if folks can come, they can come. If not, they can watch the recording.
I have a question for maybe Aisha, this is probably you. How are we envisioning this living on as a recording? Will it be like watch the video and then answer these questions, or write up a little response? Or I mean, how are you envisioning what will be around the video? Just out of curiosity.
We had just envisioned it as watch it to have the experience to gather, gain information. One of the things we also talked about is that a training of this sort and having to have it be recorded, it shapes the dynamic of what the training will be and possibly people's comfort level with interacting with the material, which is one thing and is what the situation requires us to do. And it may be beneficial for people who have to watch it at a later date because it will be more didactic, just gaining information. And there will be prompts for people to do personal reflection. And we'll see the level of how open people are to sharing through this experience, to know for if there's something that we need to do differently the next time around. So that's something we also talked about, is just moving forward with these dates. And then if there's something different that needs to happen when the new board members join, to making adjustments at that time as well.
I think that sounds like a good plan. I think that moving forward with these dates, I think it makes sense to, I think it makes sense to reevaluate and see what else we need to do once the new board comes, right? Because then we can have the new members watch the recording, and then we can together do any additional training that's needed. That's my recommendation of what we do. Stick with these dates, and then we'll see what we need to do post-May. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay.
It sounds like we're not losing anything if we watch the video because it's designed for that. So
Yeah.
we've been punting in this for a while. So maybe we don't punt anymore.
No, I mean, Andrew, this is before you joined the committee, but we had kind of gone back and forth when we started working with Pat in terms of not making the meetings public up until a certain point, because we wanted to be able to go through training with not really having to think about the comments that we're going to be making being in public meetings. But I think, like Aisha said, for us to all be together, there's no other option. It has to be, public information. And I think that will lend itself better to, watching later. Okay.
Yeah, I will say Natalie and I also talked through of what could that possibly look like if there was the option to do it and not have it recorded, and the amount of time and coordination to do that also just it's not feasible. So
yeah.
Well, then you lose. Part of the purpose of us doing training is us experiencing these things together. I don't think, although we're losing out on, right, I mean, none of us are going to be as open in an open meeting as we would in a private closed room. But I think that what we gain from being together is more important than that piece anyway.
Well, and we've done it the other way. That's how we did it the first time. We did it individually or in groups of 2. And I don't know how, looking at where we are today, I don't know how productive that was. I think that there's something to be said about having the committee and the board do it together and staff be involved in that. I think there's a certain level of shared language and experience and learning this together that I think is really important for us. And we've talked about this before, but so I think this is the way, this feels like the right way to go. And it will be interesting because we will have 3 new commissioners on the board come May. So onboarding those 3 new commissioners. And I think I agree with sticking with these dates and going through that process and then learning what we need to learn. And if we need to make adjustments, then we can do it for those 3 new commissioners. But, it's become so evident and so clear how important it is that the board and the committee are functional and work well together and understand, the dynamic and the relationship. So it'll be important to do that again in May with new commissioners. So thank you, Aisha, for doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
For putting that all together.
Anything else on training other than being excited? Okay. That brings us to call of the committee. Natalie, can I start with you? Because I want to find out what happened. Yeah. I feel so out of the loop.
We have 3 candidates. Sean Jones is a candidate. He's an attorney here in Evanston. He's also written for the Roundtable, I believe. He's running. We also have Diana Anton, she is currently on the board. She was appointed, and she is going to be running for office in this next cycle. And we have Amanda De Palma, who is Oakton mom, her kids, Rory and Rad's mom. They come to
I was just putting 2 and 2 together. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we've got 3, and we've got 3 seats open. So no big surprises about how that's all going to play out. But it looks like that will be the board, and they'll be joining Matt Mitchell and Mick Morrell. If nothing crazy happens between now and Election Day. That's it.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything else they would like to say for call of the committee?
I'd just like to just memorialize the loss of Peter Salvino, the Northwestern doctoral student who was found in the lake this
Oh.
past week.
I
Just
was
wanted to
not aware. Thank you.
remember.
Thank you for bringing attention to that.
Mhm.
I just thought a very different note. I just wanted to thank all of you for being willing to continue being part of this committee. I hope that any holidays that you all celebrate coming up between now and the next time I see you all are super fantastic. I hope next year brings lots of wisdom and health and happiness to all of you and all of yours. Yeah, thank you. Well, I think that's it. See you all in, oh wait, no, hold on. I do have a quick question. Elaine, is it the fourth Thursday that will consistently work for you?
Yeah. No, that won't.
That won't.
That will consistently be a problem.
Which Thursday are you available? Is there a Thursday?
Well, I'm usually available the other three.
Okay. I think I got it flip-flopped because we were meeting the first and third weeks. So the third week will work for you? The third Thursday? Okay.
Yes.
Let's stick with the third Thursdays moving forward, because then that gives us an opportunity to get through the board meeting and, time in between our meeting and the next board meeting. I will put together an email and reiterate our responsibilities for the ordinances and our future meeting dates. And yeah, thank you all so much. I hope you all have a wonderful evening and stay warm, and good luck with snow tomorrow.
Lots of good sledding out there.
Yeah.
Holidays.
I'm not leaving my
Happy
house.
holidays, everybody.
Bye.